I spoke with some neighbors about the incident. They said that someone had infiltrated the dead woman's house and stole her after killing her, and he was doing his crime while covering his head. And after he stole her jewelry and some money, he took the phone of the dead woman as well. The killer went out and went to a quiet area where there were not many people. He took off the head covering that he used during the accident and put it in a bag and put the bloody knife with him, and also put the phone of the dead woman for fear of being tracked. And later, put a packet of cigarettes as a camouflage, perhaps to suggest that the killer was a man and not a woman. And after the perpetrator got rid of those things and put the bag under one of the cars. And he took the dead woman's phone ringing more than once while he was inside the bag, which prompted a passerby to open that bag to discover that the knife was covered in blood and the rest of the evidence that the killer had left it behind him. People gathered around that bag. And after the perpetrator got rid of those things and put the bag under one of the cars. And he took the dead woman's phone ringing more than once while he was inside the bag, which prompted a passerby to open that bag to discover that the knife was covered in blood and the rest of the evidence that the killer had left it behind him. People gathered around that bag and pointed out that something had happened while they were examining it. Bag. The dead woman's phone rang again, and it was the caller this time. She is the niece of the victim. He asked her to go and check the owner of this mobile because it was clear that he might face some danger. Indeed, that girl told her father what she had heard and asked him to go to check on his sister. The woman needed, and after he reached his sister's house and started knocking on the door, no one answered him and decided to break the door and some of the neighbors, only to discover the body of Hajja's sister floating in a sea of blood. The fateful day came when the police broke into my house and searched it here and there. Until they found the jewelry I had bought from Heba. But what really surprised and shocked me, the jewelry that was stolen from the dead woman was in my house. The investigator turned towards me and said, "When I asked you about your presence at the time of the crime, you said that you were at home with your husband and Heba, and when we asked them, they denied your presence with them at that time. They said they didn't know where I was at the time." Then he said in a firm tone, "Doctor, you are wanted for arrest on charges of murder and theft of the victim. Come with us." For now, with all the evidence against me, I was certain that I was inevitably doomed, and it became clear that I would soon be unjustly hanged. But heaven's justice intervened and something stranger than fiction happened. Of course, I will not be able to describe to you the amount of humiliation I was subjected to after my arrest and entry into custody with these predatory human beings. As for me, I used to complain about my matter to God. He knows the truth and knows that I am innocent of committing that heinous crime. I was looking at the sky and saying, "Lord, if all people wronged me, then I am confident in your justice and mercy." Slowly and heavy inside that narrow room, accompanied by those terrifying faces who were lurking around to get me and prey on me at any moment. Which made the matter worse, the narrow places where I started to feel suffocation and painful contractions in my chest that made me scream out of pain. And despite what I was in, everyone in detention was scolding me for this screaming so as not to cause them disturbance from the guards outside. At this moment, one of the guards entered to ask about the reason for the screaming, So they pointed to me, and none of the guards was except that he came out and brought a hose of water and drowned everyone with water because he thought like them that I was acting. But what that stupid guard did made my condition increase as I started to lose consciousness completely as I saw in front of me a completely white page that covered everything, and that white color was the last thing I saw in that cell. After a period of time, I found myself coming back to life again, but this time in the detective's room, and some ambulance men and 2 soldiers were surrounded by me. There was also that officer who was standing with a look of pity in my eyes, and after the ambulance men woke me up, they all left, leaving only that officer with me, and while he was looking at me, I found myself crying so hard and asking. I said, "Are you going to take me back to this awful place again?"
He said, "If you want to get out of here, you should talk and say everything that happened to you frankly and without lying."
I said, "Present."
Speak and say, why did you kill her? Boring detail.
I swear to God I didn't kill her.
This shoe is the same shoe in the video with the blood of the victim on it and the bag. We found them in your house.
They are not mine and they are a gift, Heba.
Who's Heba? How big is your leg?
36.
Try on shoes. The criminal lab will match your fingerprints with the strange fingerprint they found in the place and the human cells that were on the body of the dead woman while she was resisting the offender. They will apply it all with you.
The next day, there was a surprise. I found Heba sitting on the chair crying hard.
Heba, wear this shoe.
He found that Heba's size matched the shoe size.
Heba, shoe size is not the only evidence that you killed the neighbor. After we finished the cameras, we found that you were there on the day of the accident.
Heba said while trembling and wanted to deny the accusation against herself.
Yes, this is true. I went out for her because the time for the injection is at 11 a.m. I gave her the injection and she left.
The second proof against you is the shoes in the bag, that the cameras showed that you went to the neighbor as if you were a Heba. The shoes in the bag are the same ones that the woman who went out wearing the head covering was wearing.
Also, your blood type is identical to the blood type that was under the victim's fingernails when she was fighting you, and some of your hair we found around the place.
At this point, Heba broke down in tears and began to confess.
I didn't want to kill her, I wanted to steal the gold and the money. I just gave the neighbor a sleeping pill, but she woke up and saw me.
Indeed, I took a gift to describe what happened in detail, and after I left, I went home and I had decided to recover my right that was stolen from my husband before they arrested him. And I bought a home ownership contract. My husband opens the door for me. And he was surprised to see me in front of him once with me the knife, and he asked me while trembling.
You went out how?
I ran away.
Why did you run away?
I said. I ran away to take my right from you and kill you, because I was sentenced to death. Before they execute me, I will take my right. He was still feeling weak and debilitated, thinking he had a disease there is no cure from him, and at this moment he started begging me.
Please, Naira, think of any sweet thing that was between us and us. Married. Okay, ask for anything and I will do it for you, and I will compensate you with it for any bad thing I did with you.
I took out the ownership contract and asked him to transfer the ownership of the house to me. Get up from this chair, you are not sick.
How? You didn't say that
I said. No, you are fine, your health is good, and you can walk too. And after 2 days without the drug that I was giving you, you will regain your health and come back better than the first.
They said that he was very nervous. I mean, you destroyed my health.
At this moment, the policeman entered to take Hassam to prison. And after Hassam left my life, I had learned a lot. The most important thing I learned from that marriage, that the wife should be flexible in her personality, as she combines tenderness and femininity at home and a strong tomboy personality at work, and the softness that dancers follow in her bedroom with her husband. If you like the novel, please support us by liking and subscribing.